Well, thank you very much, Marianne, and I'd like to begin by thanking you all for finding time to attend our second business forum. The first one we organized 2 years ago. Last year we skipped because of the epidemiological situation, so this year we recognize the potential to continue this, we believe, already nice tradition, which aims at bringing people from the business community together and exchanging information and presenting what we believe are considerable potentials for new investments in the city of Podgorica. In particular, I'd like to thank our friends from other cities for finding time to be with us on this occasion, which is not easy. It's not easy under normal circumstances, given that it's the end of the year, so we all have a lot to do around this time of the year, and in particular, having in mind the still very complex situation concerning the corona crisis. So I'd like to thank my friend, the mayor of Rijeka, Mr. Filipović. I'd also like to thank our friends from the government of the city of Moscow. I'd like to thank our friends from the government of the city of Kiev. So this year we really have a very interesting structure of guests, and we're more than happy to share our views on these and many other topics with them and with everyone else who is present at this panel. So I'd like to be brief. We, I believe, share the destiny of pretty much all the cities, not only in Montenegro but in the region and beyond, when it comes to facing socioeconomic consequences of corona. We are all aware of how difficult it is to, first of all, maintain financial stability, not to mention to keep the focus on the investment. I believe that we have succeeded in the city of Podgorica to a great extent to do so. I'd like to remind you that we have started in 2018 as the then new city administration, and in comparison with that year, we have managed over the span of 2 years to increase the city budget for 50%. So last year we not only managed to realize the budget, which was pretty ambitiously aimed, given that we had not had in mind or could not have envisaged Corona, which kicked in March 2020, but we managed to surpass these goals. So the last year we finished with the record high realization of the budget of 105%, with a total amount of 94 million euros. This year we plan to budget 93.5 million. With that amount of money, we can keep the pretty high pace of development of Podgorica. As we all know, many Western Balkan cities considerably lag behind, say, Western European cities when it comes to the state of infrastructure, which is why we need to keep the focus on the investment, and we managed to do so this year as well. I'm very proud to share with you the information that we've spent actually most of the money from our city budget on the capital investment, which is pretty rare, not only in Montenegro but beyond. Some figures are even better than last year. So when we look at the property tax, our income is record high. We've surpassed 12 million euros. We've never made more than 11 million up until this year. When it comes to the communal fee, and that is something that Marian is probably most interested in, we have passed the point of 15 million euros, although our plan was to have a 12.5 million revenue from the new investment or the communal fees paid by the investors, which shows that not only that we managed again to preserve to preserve financial stability, but we've managed to remain attractive for investors, and their interest to a large extent explains how did we come to the point that despite all the challenges we managed to again be in a position 10 days from the end of the year when we can speak about another very successful year in terms of the city finances. How do I explain that? Well, on the one hand, the best way to get out of the crisis is through new investment. So I believe there's a common business logic in that, and we're very happy that many representatives of not only local business community but the international business community recognize Podgorica as an attractive investment destination. In addition to that, we've also done a lot to incentivize them to come to Podgorica and to invest. Less than a year ago, we've created our own business club, which I think was a very important step in this direction. So within this forum, every once in a while, we have a chance to sit with these people, to hear about their problems, and to see how we should approach these problems and how should we help them solve these issues. So as a result, I think we've built mutual trust, and that is the second topic that I'd like to focus. I think as a city administration, we have managed to build a very solid reputation in that sense, which is not easy in the Balkans. We all know that, especially foreign investors, when they come to this part of the world, they come with a sense of skepticism. So we need to put in extra effort in order to make sure that we're transparent, that they know that they're dealing with law-abiding people, and that everything that we agree will be implemented in that particular manner. Yesterday, we had a chance to hear an interesting remark of that sort made by the distinguished ambassador of the United States of America, Ambassador Reinke, who said that there are a lot of American investors who are still very skeptical in this regard. So having that in mind, we really try to build the trust, between the city administration and these people, and I think we've managed. And in addition to that, we have also provided various incentives both to those who are already doing business in Podgorica in order to save every single job that we have, which we desperately need at the moment, and at the same time to create preconditions for opening new ones. And the project that you mentioned, Marian, the business zones, something that we have huge expectations for, and we feel very encouraged with the initial reaction of the market, the fact that, as you mentioned, we've got 17 offers, so 17 potential new projects with more than 2,000 new jobs, and the investment that is worth more than 310 million euros shows that Podgorica stands well in the eyes of the investors, and I'd like to give a part of that credit to you as well as a city manager whose team has pretty much done most of the job when it comes to the business zone projects. So I think despite all the challenges, we can be very proud of how we're finishing this year, and I hope with the normalization of epidemiological situation that the next year may be even better, and that next year we may even pass 100 million euros when it comes to the city budget revenues.
And the city of Rijeka is the leading city in Croatia regards to.
That's an interesting question. One is to be brave, because of the reasons that I mentioned. I think it still takes some. I wouldn't say courage, but something along those lines for someone to come and invest in this part of Europe. Again, we really need to work more diligently on improving our image as a whole. So in that sense, I'll tell them to be brave and to come, because this is also a place of an enormous potential, and there are a lot of good stories, and we need to focus on those stories, but also to be patient. I know it takes a lot of time for some things in Montenegro to take place. I know that our administration is still very, very sluggish in, at least in certain aspects. So even for us in the city administration, it creates a lot of tension sometimes when you need to wait for a, a single paper for weeks or months. There are still way too many examples of the situation in which you have a very serious potential investor who wants to come, despite all the, maybe prejudice, hopefully, let's call them prejudice, and to come and to invest and to hire new people, and we cannot actually make that happen because some procedures take forever. So just to get an assessment of the value of a plot or things along those lines, I mean, it's still way too slow for us to be considered a competitive investment destination, and it's been the case for years. I'm not sure that things are moving in the right direction. So we need to be much faster. We need to be much more efficient because money can go anywhere. So we're not the only place in the world where people, may consider coming and investing money. So I think you still need to be brave, and you still need to be patient in order to come and try to do business here. The good thing is that there are positive examples, as I said, and there are examples that show that when we are focused, when we work hard, that we can earn that trust and that our potential can be recognized, by those who are, very relevant in the world of business. Just yesterday, we were very happy to hear the good news about our most important infrastructural project, which is the building of the new wastewater system and a plant. So we got another 23.4 million euros of grant from the EU through the Western Balkans investment framework. So this is what happens when you do your homework. This is what happens when you prepare documentation. This is what happens when you show seriousness in the communication with potential partners. So I'm absolutely convinced that Montenegro, but not only Montenegro and not only Podgorica, but also the region as a whole, has many comparative advantages, but we just need to change certain habits. We just need to understand that we're a part of the global market. That those people who went to Rijeka could have gone anywhere else, but they did not. They decided to go to Rijeka. Probably it shows that my friend did a good job, preparing grounds. So I think we need to be aware of that. And the more, the faster we realize that, the less brave and the less patient the future investors will need to be in doing business with us. We cannot count on building marinas in Podgorica, obviously, but there are many other things that we can do. So I would call Podgorica maybe a small city in some larger European kind of framework, a small city with a huge potential, and I really believe that we can do great things, provided that we start changing the approach that is not very helpful. And I'm very encouraged with the contacts that we recently had with people, not only in Montenegro, but from abroad, who are more than eager to come and to invest in Podgorica and in Montenegro. We just need to make sure that, things go as smoothly as possible, and we facilitate that process. So we don't need to desperately go around looking for new investors. We just need to make sure that those who are already there and who want to come here, feel that they have the support they need. I think it's the biggest obstacle. I'm not sure whether I would be optimistic in that regard, because as we speak, there are many open questions that are very important for the future of this city and this country. As we speak, we don't know what's going to happen with the aluminum factory in Podgorica, which is by far the biggest exporter in Montenegro. So as long as that is the case, and as long as we witness that kind of approach to the private capital as a whole, the approach which is founded on some sort of suspicion, or almost a kind of moral question. I think we will not move forward, not at least at the pace that we need as an underdeveloped country. So I think it's all up to us. We need to change the mindset. Once we do, I have no doubt that there will be many more investments in Podgorica and in Montenegro.